Hey, so I'm in the Keller, more familiar place to do my videos. Gonna get on my bike. Bike. Do you see bike? You see bike seat. There you go. There you see the training app. That's from Ruby, and that is the 70-kilometer Ironman bike route that I rode in 2018. And it may take me 2 weeks to run a loop, but I'm going to do it. What's been great for me is the opportunity to go back in my mental experience of what it was like to prepare. There was a time uh, where, yeah, I was so unfit and so overweight in my early 60s and blah, blah, blah. The stories, spinal surgeries, lung disease diagnosis. But anyway, I got this vision that I was going to do an Ironman. I think the vision came when I was 64. It was after my lung diagnosis, after I had begun to do some running, some fitness work. And so the idea to do an Ironman came up. And yeah, it's like, what was that? Who said that? I had never been on a racing bike ever. Um, Sports and fitness and training was not a part of my lifestyle ever. Um, and Yeah, it's like, okay, well, as I talk about many times, I take a bite. And one of those one of those bites was it started like this. So I started with my with a racing bike on a training apparatus, and so I did that inside for I don't know, about a year, I guess, before I ever took a racing bike out onto the road. I think I was 64, yeah, 64 and a half years old the first time I took a racing bike out on the open road. What an adventure. Um, Without going into a lot of details, we have some hills here in Switzerland, and there are uphills and there are downhills. And the uphills, me and my lungs, we had a hell of a time getting up those hills. And the amount of noise that I had to make to get enough oxygen to pedal up those hills was, yeah, people could hear me from 50 meters away, huffing and puffing to pedal my bike up that hill. And then I would get to the top of the hill, and guess what? There was then a downhill. and and I mean, yeah. So I had uh, a computer on my bike, and so I could watch my speed. And 55, 60, 65. I don't know. The fastest I think I ever went downhill was like 75, 75 kilometers per hour. And I remember thinking, it's like, okay, now look, if I go this fast, I got to make a deal with whoever that I die. Because I don't want, I've been through enough recovery processes in my life, and I really have absolutely no interest in getting into the recovery process that crashing this bike at 70 plus kilometer per hour would create. So, okay, we're choosing this with death clearly as an option. Anyway, so it's been nice to go back and remember that, and that was triggered by my finding this route, and I'm going to get on my bike. I just did a big climb. I finished the first big climb. There's two big climbs on this route where it gets up to 17, 19%. It's like trying to ride a bike up a wall for me. And so I've got some downhill coming and a long flat coming, and I don't think I start the next hill yet. I'm going to be here in Germany for another week and a half. Anyway, a week or so. So I expect to finish at least to finish the loop before I go back to Switzerland. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you it's a great adventure, and I'm so grateful for all of these interesting choices, and that I can have inspirations that are so far outside of my abilities and the conceptions of what I can do. But when I take a bite and I chew it and I swallow it and I take another bite and I chew it and I swallow it, and then yeah, so 66 years old, I finished that 70K Ironman, and it took me longer than the regulation time, but I finished it. And yeah, when I crossed the finish line, it was not like Yahoo and you, like I cried. It's like it was like wow, what an amazing thing, what a gift that I did that hard work, and that I showed up every day, and it's part of my life today, is that every step that I took to that Ironman was as important as the step of crossing the finish line. There was no more important part, because it was all part of the journey, and I'm taking those steps every day of my life, and really grateful for it. So that's the pre-ride video. We see what happens after. Talk to you later. Pow. Well, done with my ride for today. Don't know what happened exactly. I finished the first lap, was just about to make it to the second hill climb, and bloop, lost my connection to Ironman Switzerland, and that's okay. Um, what was interesting is, first of all, virtual riding. When you're going up 14, 15, 18 degree incline, when you're going too slow, you fall over, which I did. And there were a number of places when I rode that. It's a two lap route, and yeah, there were some times I was pushing my bike. And another thing about the virtual ride is they keep other riders with you, and that also wasn't true for me. Um, I did my swim in a reasonably good time to start this triathlon adventure, and I got into the transition area and I couldn't find my my number bib. I didn't put it in my transition bag, and we were going through. Oh yeah, well you can't go on if you don't have your bib. You can't go on. You're done. And it's like, oh, no, that's not possible. And so one of the helpers. The previous year, I had been a helper. I chose to do that, to be a helper. And the year before, so I could see the route, I can see how the system works, volunteer. And I was there, volunteered through the whole 3-day process, setting it up, the event, taking it down. It was great. Anyway, one of the people that was in the transition area was someone I had met during my volunteer time. And so she heard this guy say, no, he can't go on without his bib number. So this person took me to someone else, and they said, well, can you get your bib number? And I said, well, I have someone here with me, and I'm sure that it must be back at my campsite. And so I could imagine that I could get my bib number here, but yeah, I can't wait here for her to go there and back. So they wrote my because I had my number written on my arm, so they wrote it bigger and they wrote it on my leg, and they said go. So I was in transition for I don't know how long, 5. It's possible that if I had not been in the transition so long, I might have completed the event in under maximum, but that's not the point. My point was that I completed. But anyway, so by the time I started the bike ride, I was riding alone, and the only time that I was riding with anybody was when when the fast group passed me, and then I was riding alone again. So I got lapped by virtually everybody by the time I finished that bike route, and then I then I needed to begin running. So in the virtual world, I have 3 or 4 people riding with me, and so that's something I have to smile about. And I remember, wow, that experience of being with me, and um, how difficult that was, and how there was no way that these lungs could get enough oxygen to push me up those hills, and I had to walk and push my bike, and I did it. So anyway, Ruby crashed, put me on another Ironman event. Didn't want to continue, and I've had enough. Did enough today, and so that's all. No more videos, I don't think, for today. And yeah, amazing to get opportunities to go back and visit previous experiences. I have it with some of my relationships that go back over the years, and we reconnect, and it's nice to see my evolution. I'm not the same man that did that Ironman. I'm not the same man that got up yesterday morning to go for a swim. I change every day, and yeah. Anyway, I'll stop for now, and probably check in tomorrow. Have a great Wednesday, huh? Pow.